The Isle News Special. I had this as a part of my Phase 2 video updates, but let's be honest, this is worth its own video. So this will be my first special. My first ever interview too, so a lot of firsts with this one, so please be kind. And thanks to Darth Vapor for setting this in motion, and of course Paradigm for being a great guy, open and easy to talk to, and going easy on me. Sound will fall out in short glimpses here and there, sorry about that, but fortunately no important info was lost. So, here is the Isle Discord News very first special. Hope you enjoy. So let's just start with the bare bones basic stuff. I've got Paradigm with me, and do you prefer ParadymShift, or
Yep.
Chris?
Paradigm, Christopher, Chris is fine.
Chris? Alright. First of all, not everybody follows the Discord and knows who you are, so who it is, and how'd you end up in charge of merch and ultimately director of marketing?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that too, because the scope of my role actually changed a little tonight too.
Really?
I'm still the director of marketing for the team, but I'm also managing all of our business operations. Basically, anything that is not on the creative side of management falls into my responsibility.
Really?
Teeny, tiny stuff like paying our bills and other stuff like, budgeting and making sure that the right people are being compensated for their time, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, basically
all that stuff now falls into my purview.
yeah, that's I bet that's a lot of responsibility.
It's exciting.
Yeah,
It's small indie studio, still a business. Something's got to be run for that. So, and I was already kind of doing that. So
yeah, okay. It's not something you're not used to then.
Yeah. So, and as far as how I came to be here, I've known Don for an eternity, as I think everybody who is keyed into the memes in our relationship knows. Don and I have a really good friendship personally. And Don kind of approached me. We were talking, and he was talking about wanting to do shirts. And he's talked about this a couple of times with me in the past. And I'm like, let me know when you're serious about it. I can make it happen.
Yeah. And then it went from there.
And then, January rolls around, and I iterated a bunch of stuff in about a week, and we started talking about the lack of targeted marketing or even, PR management and stuff like that, and interacting more, basically giving Punch Packet Bruce some backup where he so dearly needs it in the US time zone, so that there's somebody who can interact with the community and answer questions and, work with people like you and our other content creators to, get kind of the answers to a lot of the questions we see often out there.
Yep. That seems like it was a brilliant idea, if you ask me. It seems like you really found your place in the team, and well, the community loves you, so there's that.
I think you're being too kind, but I appreciate it.
No, I'm not being too kind. People really appreciate you, man. Know that.
I do like my evening ritual of tapping in to see what's happening and what's now general discussion, and then reading through the rest of the Discord channels to see what people were talking about, and I face palm at some of the same things. I chuckle about some of the other things. Yeah. Anytime my out of it.
Yeah, you seem to have missed you for a second there. Could you repeat that last phrase?
Oh, I get a bit of a chuckle when my DMs get blown up when somebody makes a meme with Don or I.
Yeah, I bet there's got to be a few of those.
Oh, the most recent favorite one is me frowning in space with Don in the Stormtrooper armor. That one really appeals to my sense of humor.
Good thing you get some of those too.
I've known Don for forever, and I kind of have been a facilitator for other things, because I network a ton in my day-to-day, what used to be my day-to-day. So I have a history in sales and telecom and IT, so I just have kind of always networked, and I do a bunch of charity work with two wonderful non-profit costume clubs. The 501st Legion, so I have an approved Darth Nihilus, and we'll do charity fundraiser events, press events for Star Wars stuff. And I'm also a commanding officer of the Mandalorian Mercs chapter here in Iowa. And we do a ton of, again, similar charity work. So I feel very passionately about that.
Yeah.
Which is why I try to bring that to some of the work that we're doing with the Team Fazor stuff. And, I have some other things in the works once I vet a few charities to make sure that, whatever charity funds we raise, that money goes to the right place.
Yeah. That is really good to hear. And, well, too, that the community really got on board with the Team Foster stuff. That went off the rails.
Yeah, actually, our meeting wrapped up, and Kissin went to go check in with Brandon and Monique to go see how they're doing, and I think that she plans to get another update out. I think she plans to do weekly updates, is what she was talking about. Obviously, as her time permits. So
yeah, of course, that's a difficult situation. No doubt about it. Well,
it is, but our community came together for it. So I'm really proud that we brought all these people together to help, and
yeah.
I was honestly a little surprised.
Yeah, me too, actually. Cancer is a subject that hits close to home for me too, so I guess there's a lot of us out there. It was really heartwarming to see how that number kept climbing day to day.
Yeah, I like the initial swell too was insane to watch, and I hope that we can carry this momentum forward with the Team Pfizer stuff, and then I'd like to explore doing more support for organizations that raise awareness or do research into various cancer, because my family has a history of leukemia, so it is something that I care very deeply about.
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. Marketing. I do have a bunch of questions for you regarding that, of course. First one being as simple as you mentioned wearable merch, but what I want to know is there any possibility of merch jewelry, necklaces, bracelets, that kind of thing? Has that been looked at?
So I have some interesting ideas about doing, like, keeping with our skull motif,
Yeah.
that we have, of things like earrings and like necklaces and stuff like that. And there are some lore item opportunities, like I kind of showed off that survival band that I would like to work in more. My only concern with that is that obviously stuff like that, because it's not something that we can make on demand, the runs would be limited, just so that we're not stuck holding a bunch of inventory of things.
Yeah.
With like shirts, sweatpants, hats, patches, stuff like that. Like, we can do that on demand, basically. We have the distributor I'm working with, we could scale up to 20,000 shirts a week. If a great problem to have is if we somehow crush that ability to produce.
Yeah. That would be quite a problem to have.
Because I asked, I was like, the community can be pretty I was gonna say ravenous, but it's kind of, I have to
yeah, it's a good word
hungry.
for it. I can see what you mean.
So it's just like we're preparing for our new website and the store page to go with that. And I was like, we're looking at the engineering challenges presented by a community of 50,000 people in the Discord, plus the multiple hundreds of thousands of copies out there on Steam in circulation, that
a
hug of death, a website could happen very quickly.
Oh yeah, that's something to keep in mind.
We've been preparing for that. I'm shooting for a let me hold the thought, and then I was about to give you an ETA, and I don't want to do that.
Okay, well, understandable. That ETA, that's a dangerous thing.
I have a window for the Team Fozzer store stuff, which will let you get kind of a teaser for what we're looking at with the store in that first week of April. It's kind of what I'm looking at. So the Team Fozzer stuff is going to be the only merch that will come out possibly before EVRIMA.
Yeah, okay.
Lands. So, and I have some specifics that I can share with you about that we cleared through our team. So we'll get to that after the merch stuff.
Yeah, that is really cool. Well, continuing on marketing and merch, do you have any plans for marketing outside of merch? Like the commercials, ads on websites, or stuff like that?
So I do, and it's something that we're looking at very carefully, because obviously we've spent very little as a business marketing. A lot of our marketing has been word of mouth, and hinges upon Don's reputation within like the Twitch community.
Yeah,
Don is kind of a common name in certain circles, so we've benefited a lot from just Don being out and about.
Yeah.
Punch and I are working on building a pretty comprehensive strategy for working with both content creators like yourself, our fan artists and stuff like that, because we want to highlight both the creativity and amazingness of our community, while also building followings on these other platforms like Instagram and Twitter. And we want to start using our Twitch official page more often. As far as ads go or other things that are marketing related, Don and I have been kicking around the idea of like a lore related scavenger hunt, because it would be really
Really?
easy for me to do up a like Pelican case with Apollo Engineering branding on it and lore stuff tied into that. And inside, I have some very loose thoughts about a mercenary folio.
Really?
So the kind of lore journal that's filled with the observations of a security team member and their sketches within. So, and I'm courting a few people for that, and we're trying to feel out the feasibility of that. And then, obviously, doing something like that, we would only probably do like 2 or 3 of these things in the world, and they'd all have to be unique.
Yeah, of course.
But eventually, once they're found, I would like to make them available for people digitally if we ever do a special edition or something like that.
Yeah,
So,
that sounds awesome, man.
because I love like the inspiration for me for that, being a longtime gamer myself. If any of you got like the Halo Reach Collector's Edition that had like Dr. Halsey's journal in it, like that is the kind of thing that I was looking at as inspiration or feedback or guidance for. Because I think that would be neat,
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like hyper detailed sketches of the animals in our game, right? Like the kind of quick little doodle you'd get when you're stuck in a watchtower or something,
Yeah.
or in a hunter's blind.
Yeah,
Something I'm sure you can understand as a prior service member.
yeah, definitely. There's a lot of downtime when you're standing watch or basically just guarding something. There is a ton of downtime on that. Definitely.
So yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at for things like that. And as far as commercials, we are prototyping a trade show booth.
Yeah.
So the kind of thing that you'd see at something like Gamescom or PAX East, because we are starting to chart our course, towards. I don't want to use the word completion, because once we exit early access, we don't plan to be done. There's more in the future that we're looking at.
Yeah.
But being able to show up with a IL booth at a PAX show or an RTX or a San Diego Comic-Con or whatever, and have a couple of our devs in pseudo character answering questions and providing lore related snippets and whatever neat little digital things we give out for hey, coming by and stopping and seeing us at the booth.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Those are the kinds of things that I'm also looking at, but those are obviously in the far future, right? We're still very, have a plan for it, but we're not actually executing on it just yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
I would say that the soonest that you would probably see us with a booth on a show floor would be, Q1 of 2021.
Yeah, next year sometime at the earliest.
Yes,
That sounds really cool. That would help you probably get some press coverage too. Probably.
I am excited about that, and with that comes certain concerns, right? Like with press coverage comes a greater level of scrutiny, and as a small studio, it's important for us to make sure that whatever we put out there to the public is one, appropriate and received well.
Yeah, definitely. Do you have anything more to add about the booth?
Well, so as far as the booth, like we've got a couple different ideas we're pursuing. One of the things that Don would really like to see is a very high quality, aisle scaled animal statue present in the booth. I would like to lean more into the Apollo engineering end of things, and blend those two together so that we've got a great piece for people to come by and take their photos with.
Yeah.
And then a place for people to, get some lore information, maybe sign a 1,000 life contract or two, and
okay, 1,000 life contract. I would actually pay good money for one of those. That would be awesome to have.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm looking forward to.
Oh.
If we were a big evil corporation, what would the language on that look like?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to think about. Definitely, a lot of ambiguous language. I'm sure.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Actually,
I'm sure it'll be the
about
funniest thing to come across their desk in a minute.
Yeah. That would actually be really interesting. But okay, that sounds like a great idea with aisle-sized dino or animal to come and take pictures with and stuff like that. That would definitely get some attention. I remember something similar when ARC did their thing. They also did that. There were tons of pictures all over the place. So I think that would be an excellent idea.
Yeah, theirs is huge. I've seen that at PAX actually a couple of times, and it is massive in scale.
Yeah, I can definitely see that grabbing some attention. No doubt about that. Well, I do have some more merch stuff. Something you touched on briefly, but I don't know. Do you have any examples of what one might expect in shipping costs, specifically for Europe?
So I don't have a concrete number. We have our distributor has a great network for getting deals on things like that. So obviously, like, I think my tentative plan for European offerings, or basically anything outside of the United States, is to offer, you've got 3 speeds basically. Here's our, lowest rate. We'll get you there. Imagine like if you've ever taken, what's that Russian post service? If you ever gotten anything from Russia or anything else, like, it'll take like 2 weeks to get, or 3 weeks, depending on, where you are and what your customs control is like.
Yeah.
To like, hey, we can get this on an airmail thing to you in a week. Like I'm a big believer in providing options. Like, the joke that I make often, that I'm not entirely joking about, if you were on the ISS and you wanted to buy a, IL t-shirt, well, I have a buddy who works at, payload planning and logistics at SpaceX. If you're willing to pay the whatever, $2,200 a kilo it is to ship something up to the ISS, I'll make it happen.
Yeah, okay. Not entirely a joke. That's actually awesome. That is really, really awesome. I do have a question that I know that you've kinda answered already. What are the possibilities of really limited, really high-end stuff like embossed leather jackets and stuff like that, regardless of price, at any time in the future?
I love those ideas because I'm a collector of weird memorabilia and stuff like that myself.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of, like, statues is one that's commonly bandied about in that price range. We're working on getting a few what they call rotundas together of, dinosaurs or animals in poses with other characters from our game.
Ooh, cool.
Including environment, and then working with a studio like Gentle Giant or somebody else to make those a reality.
Yeah.
Obviously, a statue at that range, you can look in the $200 to $300 point is a starter place.
Yeah.
I also recently learned through our distributor, and I kind of joked about this, but we can do limited runs of things like Apollo Engineering branded plate carriers or survival kits, and I personally like stuff like that. I think that stuff like that is neat. And it's super easy for us to like put together, here's your, Apollo Engineering security team survival kit. It's your, here's your illuminated compass and blah, blah, blah. That's all AE, like serial numbered and logoed, or even something like our crew jackets that we've done for our own team. So I'll probably get more pictures about those now that the rest of the jackets and the sizes have showed up. Doing limited runs of jackets like that have our logo, embroidered into the back of a nice like crew jacket or like a flight jacket or something like that.
Yeah.
Doing something like an Apollo Engineering flight crew or something like that would be cool. Yeah. I'm totally open to doing things like that, and I have the option.
Okay, I think I lost you again. Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I just got a phone call.
Oh.
Did I like blip out? What was the last thing you heard?
That you could do Apollo Engineering crew jackets or flight jackets, and that would be really cool.
Yeah, so I know I say yes to a lot of things, but if it's wearable, chances are I can brand it or make it fit in with our lore. So I have a ton of options. I mean, like, people keep asking me for things like thigh highs and like lingerie and stuff, and we're not really looking to explore stuff like that just because we don't. Just imagine for a minute what the press around something like that would look like.
Yeah, that would probably not be pretty.
Those are the kinds of things that I try to avoid. Like, if somebody wants to, for their own use, and all contingent upon that whole, following fair use criteria, make their own, like, dino lingerie, I can't stop them, right? So they're going to do what they're going to do. But, like, the idea of things like even cutesy stuff, like what they call full sublimation, like printed knee socks where a dinosaur's eating your kneecap, like, I think that's cute. Sure, I can make that happen. Like, I have I have a list of artists basically. Anytime I see a funny like actual like drawn meme, I write the artist name down and make notes so I can contact them because I would love to, and we would love to work with our community artists, people like Catbug and Emily Art, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I know if I don't name everybody, it's going to cause an issue, but know that if you've posted some isle art, I've probably seen it and I've probably written your name down, and I am either finding a place for you or will find a place for you.
Okay, that is actually really cool. Using talent from the community. That is a really cool thing.
For me, like that's a lost opportunity if I were to not follow up with that, because it is surreal to me as somebody not coming from like the dinosaur of talent present in our community, just in what I would call traditional artists, right, and digital artists, and even people who are doing sculptures of animals. And I know Don likes to like gruff about the person who made a suit from a animal from our game, but like as a costumer, I respect the amount of time and skill that goes into making something like that. Not that I'm going to commission like a raptor suit from somebody, but like that kind of thing is crazy cool to see.
Yeah,
so pointing them towards like good causes is kind of what I view as a part of my responsibilities.
Yeah, I like the way you think, man. Speaking of limited run stuff, the red and silver foil shirts, if they sell well, would you be willing to do more runs later down the line?
In different designs of the same shirt? No, because then they stop being limited. But of the different designs, if that goes well, then we plan to follow through with that.
Okay.
We may do, like, if they ever come back through, they would have to be for a limited cause. So,
okay,
if we do like, we go through our 100 red and our 100 silver, and then, this great charity organization comes through that we want to work with, we would probably work to do something specific towards that. And I've even looked at like numbering them, just because people like to, so having like, I'm shirt number 22 out of 100, like, people get a kick out of that. Like, I know I do.
Yeah.
I collect challenge coins, and I love stuff like that.
Yeah, that's really awesome, knowing that there is not a single shirt on the planet the exact same as yours. That is actually really cool.
Like Jim's. I still have Jim's shirt. I actually get it in the mail because the other thing I'm working on.
Yeah, the one branded Donnie was here in the neck.
Yeah, that one, Don was like, can you make that happen? And I'm like, that's a dumb question to ask me. Of course I can make that happen.
Yeah, that was an awesome shirt.
I mean, people like Jim, and that like that just came up as an off the cuff thing. Like, we were just talking about the creators who are working to bring positivity into a community that many people view as fairly toxic. And I think that we're starting to see a shift too, especially now that we're more and more open. I don't like to see the word transparency thrown around so much, but we are trying to be more open and transparent in that regard, by giving you guys more access to people like me and Bruce, and then encouraging, when they have time, the other developers to interact with the community.
Yeah.
So people like Jim and Holly, and I mean, everybody who's got a purple name tag is, doing good. If they weren't, they wouldn't have a tag. But those people are like constantly on my mind as I look at people who are working to build a better, healthier community.
Yeah.
So we want to recognize that, and generally that's going to come from a decision from Don and I. So we're never going to sell those gold shirts. We both agreed that we will never sell that gold foil shirt, and each one will be personalized to the person who gets it.
Okay, that is actually really cool.
So if Jim tries to flip his on eBay, you'll know it was Jim's.
Yeah. You know who the trader was.
Yep.
All right. Prices have been speculated to fall somewhere in the $20 to $25 range. Do you have any expectations of... Oh, never mind. You've actually answered this one. The price range for a statue.
Yeah. 200 to 300 as a starting point, depending on how like crazy we decide to get. I mean, if you've ever bought a statue or thing from General Giant, I mean, they make things that can go for as high as like $1,100, $1,500. They did a limited Path of Exile statue just for China. That was like $1,500 US.
Oh, yeah.
So I mean, they've got a huge, and they've got a pedigree. Obviously, we're looking at, I have a friend who works at General Giant, so it's easier for me to start that contact. But we're also reaching out to places like NECA, and we want to look at doing figures and other high quality resin animal options. I know people have bandied about the can we do a customizable dinosaur 3D print. I'm more inclined to
A
work
high
towards
quality model.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
more inclined towards working towards providing like a resin model kit that then you can then paint to look like however you want.
Yeah.
And then having figures that are like our generic skins.
Yeah.
Our showcase skins.
I can definitely get behind that, knowing that you've also worked at Games Workshop, if I remember correctly.
I have, yeah. I had a
Yeah.
lot of fun working for GW. Most
Yeah.
of my job was teaching kids how to paint.
Really? That
We
must have been
used
a special kind of job.
It was, I've people make the joke right about how
Oh man,
it's,
I lost
yeah,
your
you
audio
teach it.
again.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so painting is a skill, and you can teach a 4-year-old to dry brush, and they'll work magic. I've seen 4-year-olds who have been taught just basic, brush handling mechanics and like how to properly apply paint to a brush and work with a dry palette.
Yeah.
Do work much nicer than people who've been painting for 10 years who
Yeah.
don't have any of that foundational. So, I mean, like, so I would much rather work within allowing these people to be creative than like forcing something down their throats.
Yeah, that's a really nice idea, actually. I know that there's definitely a market for customizable models of that
Models.
kind. Yeah, people paint all
It-
sorts of insane things.
There's also the simple fact that it also makes my job a heck of a lot easier if people are painting them and I don't have to try and arrange for us to do like a high quality model that's also painted or printed in colors
Yeah,
that
of
meets
course.
our standards. As I'm sure you can imagine, Don is a stickler for things looking good. Me
Yeah.
too. I'm a big believer that if our product doesn't fit into the buy once, cry once category, then we're not doing it right.
Yeah, I guess I can see that. And yeah, Don being a perfectionist, that is, yeah, I
That's
don't
the
doubt that for a
gospel.
second.
Anybody who's touched the game for more than like 20 minutes or watched him stream and talk about the game knows how he feels about things needing to be just right.
Yeah, definitely. I also actually have a question regarding something you've also worked in, retail.
Yes.
Are there any considerations or plans for if merch sells well? Is there any plans of doing retail options around that?
Like our product being located in like hobby stores or even like, in places like GameStop.
Yeah.
Maybe. Um I think the unfortunate reality about a lot of brick and mortar stores is that they're kind of going the way of the dodo. And
Yeah.
that, like I like to support local business. So like when I can buy something, I'm gonna buy it local instead of buying Amazon. But
Slowly but surely.
slowly but surely those places are going away. So if if it's right for the business, then I will make that call. Right, mainly because of the increased cost basically that comes with working with other distributors or adding another distribution line, because you have to deal with supply chain for all of that as well.
Yeah, of course.
And so having a client or like a distributor like GameStop, then we have to make sure that our supply chain can, meet, whatever their demands are. And that's
Yeah.
a completely different nightmare altogether.
Yeah, definitely. That expands the scope of things quite drastically. I do have a couple of more questions, but as a father, I just have to ask: is there going to be a hipsee onesie in kid sizes? Please?
I want to do onesies really badly. So onesies and plushies are kind of stuck in like a holding pattern right now. Same thing with like resin statues. So
Yeah.
some of the suppliers I was working with have unfortunately been impacted by the spread of COVID-19. So a lot of the production facilities that we would work with for samples are based in China or Italy.
Yeah.
So those are kind of on hold. I'm exploring US based manufacturers and suppliers. The unfortunate reality that I'm finding is that most of the US based places cannot produce at the same quality, which a lot of people are going to find supremely ironic or weird, that
Yeah.
China or Italy can. Like, that's just where, they do it well. They've been doing it that way for a long time, and their, production
Yeah.
facilities are built around producing a high quality product very quickly.
Yeah. I don't doubt that for a second. I do have a question for my fiance, actually. How far are you gonna take the merchandise in your wildest dreams? If it surpasses every expectation ever set for it, what would you like to do with it?
I would like us to earn enough money off merchandise that I can carve our logo into the moon.
Okay.
But more seriously, I keep an open mind, and I look at stuff like things that I use in my day to day, like what kind of cool stuff. Like like I said, I'm a collector. I have if you've seen the photo of my desk, I have all kinds of weird stuff on my desk that I like to look at all the time. Like I've been playing with a challenge coin this entire time. I would love to see, Don and I were just talking about you remember you and I are a pretty similar age. Do you remember old school like PC gaming boxes, the big like 8x10 box that had your traditional manual with all the lore in it and a jewel case and the whole, like, I would love to do stuff like that. That would blow my mind to be able to walk into a GameStop in their very small PC gaming section, see like a collector's box of our game.
Yeah, that would actually be awesome. If you
like
get that big old fat 125-page manual from the good old days, that would be really cool.
I still have my Baldur's Gate, 1 and 2 in the original boxes, like in what used to be my office that is now like our spare bedroom.
Wow.
So like I love stuff like that. And I mean, the question I think is intentionally vague to kind of let me run rip wild with it, but whatever fits the game best, I would love to do. Like I would love to do art books and comic books and things that let you explore the world that you guys will get to live and breathe in.
Yeah, cool. That's a good answer. Well, realistic startup line of the merchandise so far. We know that plushies and onesies and that kind of thing is kind of on holds for now. T-shirts and anything else you know you can do for the startup of the merchandise set?
Yeah, pretty much shirts, sweaters, hats, beanies. I get a lot of questions about like coffee cups, and I recently just had a great conversation. I'm not a coffee drinker, so what I was looking at for coffee cups, I was apparently wrong. I didn't know this. I learned this from my wife.
Okay.
She was like, no, that's not big enough. And I'm like, okay. So I reached out for a couple of samples on a couple of different, like, with wider bowls and stuff like that, because you've seen that image I've pushed out and things. That's on my list of things to do, because those things are easy and those can be made here in the States. So like things like the notebook, the shirts, hoodies, hats. If the initial shirt run goes well, we can spin up the other stuff pretty quickly. So because we've already got like the screening and stuff pretty much prepped and done.
Yeah.
So if the shirt run, which I'm hoping sells out in a few minutes, and I'm hoping that I can manage to snipe one of the red foil shirts myself.
Yeah. I get that. I definitely understand that one. I'm gonna have to try to snipe one of those myself.
I got one of the guys in the other Discord that I'm in was like, why don't you just have one made? Because I'm like, then it's not limited. If I can just get one made, it doesn't count.
It's not a valid one. Come on.
Yeah, it's cheating.
Yeah, it kind of would be. So
I have to. I'm gonna announce it and then immediately try to snipe one real quick before you guys hug of death our servers. Is kind of my game plan.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that one. I really want one of those red foil ones.
They look amazing. So good.
Yeah.
I'm honestly sad that the test one that we printed was not in my size. Like my biggest regret was not having that.
Yeah.
This red was not done in my size. It's in like small boy Don size. It makes me sad.
Yeah. Should have thought about that one, but now you know. Now you know for the next one.
I shot myself in the foot with that one. I was like, yeah, let's do red. I bet that's going to look cool. And then I got it back and I was like, fuck, now I want it.
Yeah. I can relate to that one. That actually is the end of everything I managed to think of for the merchandise, and your role in the team.
I've got some of your questions here that I can answer from the question list that you sent me, and I've got some really big ones that I'm sure that people are going to be like, well, Paradigm, why you give it to Ravenous first? Well, because you were here.
Yeah, I actually was, yeah.
And you had asked, and nobody else had, so their loss. And plus, I'm going to immediately make an announcement pretty soon about this. So we have finalized our planning for EVRIMA as far as what that's going to look like from a branch position. Now I know that you have, so our plan is to remain with what we are going to call our legacy branch, which is the game as it is now.
Yeah.
And then we are going to have two separate branches. We're going to have our EVRIMA branch, which is going to be the game going forward, and then obviously we'll have our own internal EVRIMA QA branch where we continue to nail down certain mechanics, like the flight mechanics, and make sure that those are as intuitive as we'd like them to be, and that they work as well as they'd like, and that like the bleed mechanic, which is going to be completely reworked. There's a proposal that is being written up for how bleed is going to change that I may have some more to talk about next week, depending on how our team evaluates that one.
Oh,
so
cool.
We are basically getting all of those things lined up and prepared. I don't have a window that I can give you, but I don't want to encourage people to speculate. I know that people are tired of hearing me say soon, but trust me, we are working diligently to make sure that we get this out as soon as we can. That is a polished product. It is important for me to reinforce that when EVRIMA lands, you are not going to have the full playable roster of dinosaurs, because there are new animations being made, there are models being touched up, there is animation retargeting, there's complete mechanic reworks. So the initial roster for EVRIMA will be small. And then the plan is to move, as we continue to finish polishing the animals and bring everything online, continue to just, insert those into that EVRIMA branch moving forward.
Yeah, that sounds good.
You had asked about lore. The question was, we know that lore will be sprinkled here and there in the form of terminals, data pads, and stuff like that, but the Steam page says the Isle features a narrative told strictly through the environment, achievable only through immense cooperation among players. Are you stranded? Can you just leave? Etc., etc. Can you tell us anything about this cooperation among players and how will that work? So part of that, or how that will work. So part of that, obviously, is building mechanics that encourage people to play like animals. So building the diet mechanics and things that encourage people to migrate. The addition of puking, so people can't just try to fill their belly with the improper things in their diet. So you're not going to have people playing Rexes gorging on bushes.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
So, and building the then human mechanics around that as well to allow people to gain access to bits of the lore. How that's going to specifically shake down, I don't have an answer for you just yet. I have hinted at this a lot lately. We've talked a lot about how we're hiring 2 new programmers and 2 new modelers. I can tell you that we are looking for people who do modular hard surface environments around things like human-based infrastructure. And we are looking at bringing on a modeler who is specifically towards the kinds of things that go with having people in the game. So that is our big push, and we're trying to bring the right people on the team to do that and handle that. In addition to bringing on 2 more programmers so that we can continue to move through producing the best quality game at a rate that we're happy with.
Yeah.
Obviously, with what Fozzer's been dealing with, we've had to adjust our pace to, work with that.
Yeah, of course.
We have to look after our family as much as this does not appeal to, a player of our game or some people of our game. I know that the vast majority of our community is hugely supportive of what we're doing, but the unfortunate reality is we have a member of our family who is down and we're trying to take care of him.
Yeah. That is something we see. And I think most people, despite many people being very, very impatient, I think most people understand that this is a guy you've been working with for a long time. He's family and he's going through some shit. It's important to be there.
Don built the team, and Don's focus for, I know that there's probably going to be people who are going to go into the comments or whatever and be like, well, Don's an asshole. Don cares very deeply about his team. Don will be very upset that I'm putting this out to the world, but Don is a big softie. The guy cares very deeply about the people who he works with, and will move, heaven and earth to take care of his own people. I've personally experienced that as his friend for many years. I have helped facilitate and do what I can when our people need backup, and Don and Kissin bring that to the team as far as a management perspective goes. So that's kind of where that's at.
Yeah.
Moving on from the more dour bit, you'd asked about water. So a lot is being done to make water one look better on the map, including some new water textures and things like that.
Yeah.
In addition to, Felipe has kind of already teased out like tidal systems. So all of that's going to tie into, and now this is all entirely contingent upon us getting it to work neatly within the engine.
Yeah.
Those kinds of abilities for us to adjust, like, hey, here's the water, something is occurring. This is going to impact the way the, water is on the islands or around the islands, and potentially reveal things hidden within the map as a result.
Ooh. So potentially exploring stuff that's hidden by water in any other time than the perfect circumstances to go and find it.
Yeah, I mean, like if it's high tide, obviously I'm not going to be able to get into, X feature within the map. But if it's low tide, maybe. So
that is actually really cool.
Dinosauriac mentioned that survival horror is more the mercenary side of the game, and the dinosaurs are more sim-based. Can you tell us how in-depth things like nutrition and sleep deprivation will be? Don speaks very highly of Scum's nutrition system, or at least was trying to show it to me as a reference.
Yeah.
As somebody who intends to remain very involved in the planning for mercenary stuff, one, because it is the part of the game I am most excited for. If you've watched me play the Isle, you know that I'm absolutely terrible at playing animals. But I have a basis in, tactical and strategic shooters, and I love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And with what I'm seeing on the new map, Mercenaries is very survival horror. The moment that you or your group, takes your head off of a swivel in the new map, it is, and with other players as animals, I see that being very unforgiving for you very quickly. Now, obviously, it's important to me that whatever happens gunplay-wise is balanced and feels good. Because like my biggest complaint in games is when firearms don't feel like firearms. I really love GTFO, but the guns don't feel like guns. They feel kind of like I'm paintballing.
Yeah,
and I don't really like that.
Feel toy-like.
Versus in Tarkov, if I pick up like a Mosin or a FAL and I, go work 1 or 2 rounds into somebody and they're not wearing the best of the best armor, they die, and that gun feels like I'm, shooting a FAL or something. Like that's kind of what I'm looking for in gunplay stuff. I'm
feeling really confident that you are in the position you are, because it kind of sounds like you and Ryan maybe might be the gun advocates for the game, and you guys will probably take a lot of the lead positions when it comes to designing how this will actually work.
Yeah, I have it in my head that we're gonna kidnap all of our programmers and drag them out to like my in-laws' property where we have a range out there, and take them shooting and teach them some firearm fundamentals for people who aren't exactly firearm savvy, so that because nothing is gonna trump experience, right? Like you can play a game with a handgun and then try to bring the same licensed handgun into your game, and you've never fired your 1911 or your Glock. Like there's you have no real basis.
Yeah,
for,
you have no idea.
To feel.
Yeah, you have no idea what the gun does when you actually pull the trigger.
Now, obviously, that sounds really funny in a game that's imaginary with animals walking around, but that matters to the kind of people who are going to be playing Mercenaries.
Yeah, of course.
So might as well get it right the first time instead of mucking about.
Yeah, it seems like most of the things in the game will be rooted in reality, or at least some form of believability, and that carries through to the mercs, and I really like that.
Yeah, trying to make it so that you're not suspending disbelief all the time.
Yeah,
is kind of the goal.
Yeah, that really helps with immersion, and if you can get people that were used to playing Arma and Tarkov and that kind of thing, if you can get those happy with gunplay, you'll have.
I have to, yeah, I think that would be. I think that'd be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what like small squads of mercenaries are capable of doing.
Yeah.
On the island, and I am, also looking forward to the, the moment they make the poor decision of wandering through the wrong set of tall grass, into a, Utah pack or something else. Like, my joke is I'm gonna stay away from everybody else. I'm gonna be Colonel Kurtz in the jungle with my hipsies, my compies, and people will leave me alone.
Yeah, one can always hope. One can always hope. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how that project goes, if that's something you're going to stream eventually, considering that Dondi has said that the jungles are in places dense enough that you might actually crash into the legs of a waiting predator.
Having seen some of the jungles he's talking about, and I think he's shown some of them on stream, they definitely are, especially with the new bush stuff and the new foliage and stuff that is being worked upon. Yeah, it is very easy if you are not attentive to blunder into. And it's it's kind of early right now, so we haven't really talked about like what mercenary tracking mechanics would look like. Is it going to be similar to Scent? We're not in a place to talk about that just yet.
No, of course not. That's quite a bit ahead of where we are right now.
I know the answer to your hipsee question. I can't answer it yet. I hate to tease you with that, but a decision was made regarding the hipsee's place and what will be special to the hipsee today. And I can't share that with you just yet until I have a video to show you. My plan is to get something together when it's done, to show you guys in phase 2. And I actually have a bunch of stuff that I held back from our meeting today that I will be releasing over the next week. So sorry to make more work for you, Rev.
Awesome. I appreciate everything I can get, man. For the record, the question I asked was, what will hipsee do? Smaller than Dryo and likely slower. How will it defend itself? So, Paradigm has the answer, boys.
There's a quote from Bardo that's great in that that I think perfectly describes kind of the look that is being chased.
Yep.
Is Bardo wants it to be cute and horrific at the same time.
No, okay.
That initial tagline and then oh god, why? What somebody mentioned? Darn, what is that movie? Oh, it's killing me. I can't remember. It has the guy who plays Snape in it. It's a pseudo-sci-fi movie where the fictional Starship Enterprise crew ends up in a real Starship Enterprise. Damn it! What is the movie?
Oh.
So I can't believe I forgot Alan Rickman's name.
Yeah, Jesus. Alan Rickman, but what is the name of the movie?
Galaxy Quest. The thing in Galaxy Quest that she goes to pet. Like, haven't you seen any of our show?
Okay, exactly. Well, it's going to be really interesting to see what exactly hipsee will have as an ability that makes it viable, because we all know that Hypno has been advocating that everything is going to be viable. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and the goal is to have everything have its own unique and satisfying experience. I mean, that's the goal, to be consistent across the board, to appeal to everybody who wants to play that animal. It will have something special to it. Yeah,
that is a good strategy when it comes to designing them. Some overlap is okay, but there should be something.
So yeah, and then hopefully I'll have some more of these things that I can get back to you with. I have a follow-up meeting with Kissin this afternoon or evening.
Yeah, okay.
It's 8 o'clock here, and I'm sure it's a god-awful time in the morning for you.
2:58 a.m.
Oh,
yeah, it's getting there.
Poor man. So hopefully I'll be able to get you some more answers to some of these. Your questions were well executed, and obviously this close to when we're about to open up our new questions and answers channel. Anything that I don't get you an answer to in here, I will try to insert those into the next proper Q&A.
Oh, cool.
And we are looking to get that launched this week. So.
Oh, wow, that soon. Okay.
Probably Friday, the new Q&A channel will go live. There's some terms and conditions stuff that will have to be agreed to by people who want to chat in the channel, just to minimize the amount of spam posting that happened last time.
Yeah.
And
there was a lot.
We are shooting for, I gave the wrong date last time. Let me actually give the correct date. We are looking at doing that Q&A on Wednesday, March 18th, after our meeting. So probably around the same time that you and I were scheduled to meet. That kind of ran a little long because our meeting ran long because we had lots to discuss.
Yeah.
So to do our Q&A after that, so that we can use some of that meeting time to make sure that we have answers to as many of these as possible. And that will be done on our new Twitch, on our Twitch channel proper. Oh. And I will be providing the link for that sooner rather than later. We have been working on aligning all of our social media stuff to follow the same theme, so that it's easy to find us instead of 17 different links to find us.
Yeah, that is actually something I see a lot, where people ask for links for the various channels.
We're working on standardizing it all so that it'll be easy for everybody to find. So, and it'll also signal more and more dev streams, hopefully, when they happen, will be happening on that channel in addition to the individual developers' channels.
Yeah, okay. So it's going to be available on both ends.
Yeah, the plan is to
Awesome.
make it as accessible as possible if it is related to the game.
Yeah, that is actually really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing where you take this.
Me too. I tell people I have the most exciting, terrifying job ever.
Yep. I don't doubt the terrifying part. I don't doubt that at all with the community we have, because, well, like you said earlier, people are, for lack of a better word, ravenous when it comes to this kind of stuff. So you have every ounce of respect I have for the job you do, man.
I mean, I love it. Like the IL community continues to surprise me every day and amuse me. And sometimes, maybe they weird me out a little, but it comes with the territory.
Yeah, with that amount of people, there's bound to be something.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah. Well, I don't really have any more questions I can think of right now. Do you have any more answers?
Not really.
Nope.
Not yet.
Then I guess
you asked a lot of status related questions that we're waiting to get a proper response to.
Yeah. We'll see if those end up in the Q&A stream.
Perfect.
So, yeah, last thing on my agenda for today is very simple. This interview, I think, if I understood it correctly, Darth Vapor on the Discord is the primary reason this thing ended up being a thing. So I
love that name.
Yeah. I guess we should both thank Darth Vapor for setting this up, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me.
Yeah, Darth Vapor, thank you for the excellent suggestion. And I actually look forward to doing more of these. These are, it's fun. You're easy enough to chat with, Ravenous.
Thanks, you too, man. I've been really nervous about this, but it was nice talking to you.
Hey, man, I don't bite. We're all friends here. Yep. But I got to run off. Thank you for carving out some time for me. And I look forward to doing this next time.
Likewise.
All right, you have a good
enjoy
night.
your evening, and have a good night when that shows up.
Yeah. Later, man.
Yeah, later.